What's good, everyone? Rudy here. Today I have a video in store for those who love realistic rear-wheel drive drift builds, or if you're just looking to switch it up. My builds are more catered for controller players like myself, but people on steering wheel have also given me some props saying that they can get down with my builds too. The purpose of me making this video is just to show everyone the way that I tune my vehicles to get the results I want, whether it's getting some nice tandems in or if you're trying to get that 3-star in a drift zone. I build them to be well-rounded and just most of all, like have some real fun in them. This build is not going to have any snow tires or any other tires other than just the stock standard tires that it comes with. I'll be showing you and just be helping you tune from the bottom up and give you some insights to the choices that I make on the tuning options whenever I'm building some drift cars. Before we get into it, I want to say this build isn't going to be for everybody, and that's completely okay. I build my cars for a specific style of drifting, and that's what I'm going to show you, and you're going to see throughout this video. Let's not waste no more time, though, and let's get into it. I'll be putting up a couple of pictures of my controller settings. I use the Elite controller. I play on the Series X, so I use the Elite controller with the paddles in the back. And in the Xbox accessories app, it lets you adjust your stick more. And so on mine, I have a smooth curve, and I adjusted it a little bit more. And also my paddles in the back, have them assigned a certain way to where I have my e-brake, my clutch, and also have my shifting up and shifting down in the back. That's the best way I found to help me and just lock in a lot better and get those drifts the way I want them to be. Also here, I have my difficulty settings up. Some of these are personal preference for you, but some of them are necessary to have them the way that I have them set up. My steering, I have it at standard. Some people like simulation, but just for my personal preference, it's standard. It's a little bit slower rather than the simulation. It's more snappier. Traction control, stability control off. We don't want nothing killing our power. We want to be in control of the car completely when we're coming around corners and breaking the traction on our tires. The shifting is manual with clutch. It's a bummer for some of those guys, for some of you that can't quite use it yet. You could possibly use it with manual, but I haven't tried it myself. But go ahead and give it a try and let me know in the comments. But this gameplay and any gameplay you do see from me will be manual with clutch always. My driving line is braking line. This is what I always have it set to. Damage and tire wear, I have it set to none currently. But whenever you're tandeming with your friends and you have it on cosmetics and you happen to hit them and give some door taps, you won't send each other flying as far. You'll be able to absorb some of the damage. My rewind and some of these are your personal preference, what you want. Another thing I messed with, advanced controls. I use vibration on. It helps me a little bit. I can feel the tires when they're breaking traction. I can just feel the car accelerate and decelerate. And, I can feel the car more when it's moving. I did mess with the steering axis dead zone inside. This is normally, I believe, at like 10, but I moved it up to 40. I tried not to mess with any settings for as long as I could, but this was the only thing that I had to mess with in the game itself. Everything else, I didn't touch anything else. My particular gameplay that I like to use, I play without any drift camera for the most part. I am able to use different types of drift cameras, but the one you will be seeing in here, any gameplay, is without. Let's go ahead and get into the tuning here. So today I did pick the 97 Toyota Soarer 2.5 GTT. This one, it's a JDM. Should hopefully be able to make it slide. We're going to see what kind of tunings we can do on it. It does have the legendary 1JZ in it. Let's see what we can do with it. So this engine, we're going to leave it stock. The drivetrain, we're always going to make sure it's rear-wheel drive. I don't do any all-wheel drive or any front-wheel drive drifting. Aero and appearance, this will be completely up to you. My personal preference, I try to look for anything that increases my handling and tries not to increase my weight. Sometimes, I do make some exceptions just for the looks of the car. I hardly ever use any of the Forza bumpers. I never, ever put these on, even if it's the only one that goes on. I never put it on. That's just my personal preference. We will be going with the Origin Labs setups, and I'll leave the stock spoiler on there. Origin Lab all the way around. Tires, we will leave the stock tires on. I found the stock tires to be the best ones for my style. I tried drift, I never used snow tires, just stock standard ones. I've always tried my best to just try to get them to slide right, and they do. They slide and they grip up perfectly. Be careful, some of them on the stock tires, they're either streets or they're another tire that's a lot grippier. So just try to be careful there. It's either a sport or a street tire that they'll come with. So just be on the lookout for that. Your car will be a lot grippier. We'll go ahead and leave it on the standard tires. On the fronts, what do we have? We have 225s in the fronts. I'm going to leave it 225s. The type of build that we're going to be going for today is a low horsepower build. Those are the ones that I have the most fun with. 225s in the back, I think might work, but we're going to do 245s in the back. 245s and 225s in the front. Rims, my personal preference, I try to look for, always, of course, the nicest rims, but ones that are the lightest. I always want to try to make the car as light as possible. So I'll just try to look for some of these. I'll go with we'll just go with these. 19 pounds off. And they look okay. Up to you if you want different rims in the front or back. My rim size, I always increase it. I've recently been going with 19. So you look at your handling, that's going up in the green. Your acceleration, launch, and everything is going to be red, because that means that the car is going to be less grippy, which is exactly what we want. We're trying to drift the car. So I think I'm going to put 19s all the way around. I have built this car before. I'm going to try to build it a little bit differently, but relatively it's going to have more or less the same stuff. Front track width, I always wait till the last. But I already know this car, so of course I'm going to put the upgraded front track width. I always wait till the last second until I put my drift suspension and I upgrade everything else, because sometimes when you're going even higher, it could go red, and you always want your handling to be green. But if it goes green all the way up to where we're at, that's perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and have it upgraded all the way. My rear, my personal preference, I don't like the tires sticking out super far past the body. It looks tacky to me. That's just what I like. So for this one, I'll just be putting it at the first tack. That's just the least amount of sticking out from the car. And that's done with our tires and rims. Our drivetrain, we're going to upgrade everything. Our clutches, the transmission, I always like 6 gears. The race transmission, unless it says 7-speed, but I always go with the 6-speed. That's just what I go with. Driveline, you always want it upgraded. Why? Just it's going to help with your acceleration, and it's just going to help with your car in those transitions a little bit more. And it increases our weight, or it decreases our weight, so that's a little bit better. I always go with the drift differential. Everybody uses different ones, but my personal preference, drift differential. We're all obviously drifting, so I'm going to use the drift differential. Brakes, want them fully upgraded so we can customize the tuning. Springs and dampers, we're drifting, so we're going to go with the drift springs. Anti-roll bars, we're going to upgrade them so we can customize the tunings. Roll cage, it's your personal preference, but mine, I go with it, even though it does increase our weight. Our front displacement percentage is going green, so we do want that to always be closer to 50. That means that our weight distribution in the front and the back is perfectly matched, and you always want that in a drift car. Even distribution is perfect, and when you're trying to send the car in those heavy drifts and snapping the car, it receives it a lot better. So we're going to go ahead and use the roll cage, and we're going to give it a full weight reduction. So that puts us at 2,900 pounds so far. So our engine, typically the only things I touch whenever I'm doing low horsepower, I'll start with the intakes, because hey, let's not get it wrong. Everybody always either upgrades their intake on their car at home or their exhaust. Everybody's putting on some kind of different exhaust in their car. So that's just my idea with the tuning. I always go with the race exhaust. Sounds a little bit better. And you always do want your flywheel to be fully upgraded. That's going to help with your transmission, your acceleration, everything just working together to do our proper drifting. What's our power at right now? Our power is at 344 horsepower, and we're at 347 torque. That seems okay. Let's try to add a little bit more power and get it closer maybe to, let's say, 400. Just so it can maybe hang around with everything else. I know a lot of cars do use snow tires or vintage tires, and a lot of less grippy tires. I don't really have too many problems staying with those cars, and they don't have too much problems following me either, whether it's chasing or leading. But let's go ahead and just try to get it closer to 400 horsepower and see what our torque's looking like too. Our torque is looking like it's going to be a little bit higher. So I think we'll have this set up so far. So we'll have it at 402 horsepower. 2,800 pounds. Let's see what she can do. Oh, you know what? The one thing we forgot to change was the tires. Oh no, because I already did it. So see, that's just the one thing I taught myself, is just try not to forget to fix your tires, because that's the last thing I usually change. We got that right. So now let's go into our tuning. My tuning, usually in the front, I used to run 32 and 30 in the back. I still run 30 in the backs, but now I found the tires to be too grippy in the front. So I run 42s in the front, so they heat up a little bit more and they become a little bit more unresponsive. And in the certain cases that I found, they works out most of the time, because when you are coming around those corners, um, the car still grips up perfectly fine. I do a lot of Hakone runs especially, and I never have too many problems. I will show you how to counteract it and be a lot grippier in the front. Right now, our gearing is looking not too bad on the first gear. Our second gear either. Our third gear is looking a little bit longer, but we want to shorten this. So my rough gearing setup that I always do on my low horsepower builds, because that's usually what I always do, is just low horsepower. I hardly ever run anything that's over 600, 700 horsepower. If I do, it's probably because the car weighs a super lot, so that's why I tuned it that high of a horsepower. Or if I'm just trying to do an S1, drifting online. But right now, we'll see. We'll try to set it up and give it just a little rough setup. Fourth gear, want it a little bit shorter. So the main gears we're going to be using is third, fourth, and maybe up to fifth, depending on where we're at. Hakone, I do go up to fifth gears when I'm going in those long stretches. It kicks your back out in the way I have the cars tuned and the way that they respond to the gearing. Um, if you're pretty good at shifting up and shifting down to the gears, I'll show you just how exactly I do it and my technique. So far, fifth gear is looking pretty good. We'll leave it maybe about right there. And sixth gear, we'll put it just a little bit after it too. So that gives us a 133 miles per hour. We're going to have to come back to this, no doubt. But for now, that'll be just a good rough start. On our camber, this is always how I have it. The only thing I have been really touching recently is the rear camber. I'll pull up my telemetry and I'll go into a full drift and I'll look at the outside tire and the back, and you want it as close to zero as possible, but you never want it to go positive. You always want it to be negative. Um, you always want that negative camber in the back. You always just want it to be slippery in the back. This is usually the setup that I have, and I never, ever, hardly ever have a problem with it. Anti-roll bars. So on drift cars, you always do want them stiffer in the front, and you do want them softer in the back. That's just the way um, most cars are set up, and they respond so nice when they're set up properly like that. Especially with that weight distribution we were talking about earlier with the 50%, it's perfect. So on our springs, on our anti-roll bars, this is usually the numbers that I run on every drift build that I make, 25 and 15 split. Springs, sometimes you'll get lucky and it'll have them set up really nice. My rule of thumb, I'll run it with how this front one is at, how it comes stock. If it's a little bit more stiffer, I will lower it more to the softer side. And my rear, I will always have it a lot softer. Not too much. We're going to have to come touch this, especially if we're spinning out. I'll show you exactly what to look for and what to touch first before you go completely, touching everything and messing everything up. We'll run it about this for now. Our ride height, you can bottom out in this game, so always keep that in mind if you're going to be doing jump drifts or if your elevation changes a lot. Your ride height, I usually do this 1, 2, 3. I'm going to try it 3 clicks. When I take the car out and I look at it, I always pull out the side view camera and I look at how much the tire is gapped from the fenders. And I always just try to make sure there is a pretty good, decent gap. This can always be fiddled with, but you never want it always all the way down. Unless it does look like the car already has a pretty good gap, then you can leave it all the way down. But for the majority of the time, these drift suspensions are pretty lowered, and so I do raise them up quite a bit. My damping numbers, I run it pretty much exactly the same as well. I always run close to a 7, between 7 and 7.5 on cars. 7.5 is only on my higher horsepower builds. I'm putting it at 7.5. A little bit stiffer because you want the car to be a little bit stiffer on both the front and the rear, to try to control it a little bit more in that high horsepower. My rear, this is a low horsepower, so we'll probably put it at 7. My rears, I always put them at 5. I have the same distance. I try to keep it the same distance as my springs. Roughly, I might even lower my springs a little bit more, but we'll see how that is so far. But rebound and rear and the front, that's usually what I have it at. I hardly ever have to change this. I'll maybe move it to 7.1, but for the most part, that's what I always run it at. Bump stiffness, you always want this between half to 75% of what you have your rebound set at. For me, 4.5 and 3.5 have always worked for me. Whether it's even a high horsepower or a low horsepower build, it would still work. This exact setup on any car will give you a good drift setup. Arrow, I haven't really been touching it, but if anything, I do move it just a tiny bit more towards speed, just to give it a little bit more downforce. My braking, I run it very different from anybody else, and this is probably going to be different from you, but if you are into realistic rear-wheel drift builds, I run a 25 split balance, and the braking force, I run it pretty low. Sometimes I run it between 25 and 30. Recently, I've been putting it about 27. I'll see what it is when I'm doing my left foot braking and I'm tandeming with everybody. I'll see how that feels, but usually this is about what I run. My differential, some people like theirs fully locked. Me, I don't personally. I like it at 100 and 0. 100 and 100 means that both of your back tires are going to spin at the same time, and that is not something I want. I want it to be able to lock whenever I'm off the gas, or it's accelerating, decelerating properly. We're going to be in control of the car completely. So this is just a rough showcase of my settings and what I use. So let's go ahead and apply this and see what the car can do. I'm going to take it to a couple of my favorite spots and see what it can do. So we'll take it to my first spot. We have a little spot over here in the city I like to go to. So one way you can already check your transmission to see if it's going to work. Put your car in the gear we're mainly going to use. So main gear I'm going to use is third gear. Third gear is always going to be the gear you're going to be in when you're tandeming next to somebody. If you need more and you're going to go into a long stretch, you can go into fourth gear, hold it for a while, and then fifth if you even need it. That's why they're there. I haven't found myself needing to go into sixth too much unless you're going in a super long stretch downhill or something crazy. Right here you can go from a stop, hit your clutch and hit your gas. If your car spins and it stays spinning and you're probably got a good third gear. If you're redlining too super fast and your car doesn't seem like it's going anywhere, then your gearing is too short and you can put a little bit more length in it. Our two main ones we're going to be using is third and fourth, so let's see what our third can do. Just popping our clutch. So it's kind of slouchy, but it already doesn't seem too bad just with what we did. So when I'm doing my drifting, one thing you want to try not to do is get into a habit of holding your stick too much. When you're going to hold it, it's either when you're going to initiate a drift, you're going to hold left. So if I'm going to come into this drift, I'm going to hold left, and now I'm going to hit my clutch, and you're going to counter steer immediately. And I find myself tapping my left stick or tapping right when I'm in a drift. I tap my sticks to keep it rather than holding, because if you're holding, you're automatically going to go to your right. So I put myself in the gear I want and hit my clutch kick, and immediately start tapping and counter steering the other way. Clutch kick, and you'll go the other way when you start to figure out where you want to point your car. So the line that I run is this way. This car's already feeling super good, and we just haven't even done anything to it. It's right out the gate. So I run this line quite a bit. It does need a little bit more power, I'm feeling, in the third, maybe. Clutch kick. And we're tapping our stick, and we're feathering our gas and just trying to pay attention to our back end and trying to make sure we're not spinning out. And keeping it controlled. The car is not super redlining right now. It's not sounding like it's struggling. It's not sounding like it's bogging. We're not losing power. When I'm coming around these corners, I'm literally just clutch kicking, tapping the stick like we're talking about, and I have my gas just held down right now. It's held down, and I'm clutch kicking the other way, and it's taking it the other way. I'm slowing down a little bit, use the left foot brake. So whenever you're going to use left foot brake on my builds, you want to be on the gas at the same time. So right now I'm on the gas and I'm on my left foot brake at the same time. And my back tires are still spinning, and I can still go in the direction that I am. So if I was next to somebody right now and I'm using my left foot brake, I'm going to be right next to them still. Or if I need to slow down, I still have that back angle. My car is still going to go backwards, and it's still going to go the way I want it. Right now I'm just held on the left foot brake completely left foot brake, and my gas is held down. And the car is still wanting to go exactly where I'm pointing it. I'm just pointing my back end exactly where I want it to go, and it's going to go there. So I have that same concept when I have my e-brakes. So when I'm doing my Hakone runs, or even, for example, when I'm coming here, I'll do it here. I'll use my e-brake right here. I press A and I use my clutch too. And only if you're going to use your e-brake, make sure you have your gas pressed in at the same time. and try to press your clutch, because you don't want to have your e-brake pressed without your clutch, because sometimes you can bog just like that. I just did. I lost power. Whenever I'm holding my e-brake in, I'm holding in my clutch at the same time. I'm going to hold my clutch in when I'm going to hold my e-brake, and you'll see your back tires stop. So when I'm coming in, my tires are spinning, clutch and e-brake, my tires stop automatically, and I can just swing and point my tires wherever I want it to go. So here we're going to start in third, clutch kick and left foot brake, and we're going to start going where we want it. So press a little bit of e-brake, it slid. So now left foot brake, and now we're going to start controlling it. Left foot brake, get that back end where we want it. We're in third the whole time. We're coming around, clutch kick this way. Now we're swinging this baby the other way, and I haven't even touched left foot brake. Clutch kick and left foot brake a little bit, and let's try to get that back end to where we want it. There it is, exactly where we want it. Just an example for a tandem run. If we were next to somebody right now, man, we'd be hitting it pretty good next to him right now. Let's go travel to Hakone, and let's try to hit a little downhill run on Hakone. So far, it's feeling pretty good. We're not even going to touch anything so far. If anything, I might touch the final drive. Let's see. Everything looks fine. The only thing I want to touch is my final drive. So we're going to move it a couple of ticks towards acceleration. Right about there. If it's too much redlining, we're going to move it back a couple ticks towards top speed. So let's go ahead and send this. I'm going to show you what this car can do right now. We're going to go all the way to fifth gear. We're going to haul butt. I'm going to hold the e-brake and the clutch. And I went down to third here, and the car is in third gear. You got to hear it. And I shifted up to fourth, and I'm holding my e-brake and I'm swinging it in, and now I'm back on the gas. This is kind of what you would do in a real drifting situation. Swing your car where you want, pull a little bit of e-brake, and then just control your car where you want with some throttle. And now we're going back on the throttle, and we're going and sliding in this baby. The back end is automatic ready to go because we have that brake pressure to where we want it. And our transmission is struggling a little bit. It does need a little bit more power. Maybe we can mess with the gears individually and see what kind of different curve we can get. So far, it's looking pretty good. Not too bad for 400 horsepower. But if we were next to somebody that was super fast, we'd probably be falling behind a little bit. But so far, for what we wanted to do and what we made this build to do, it's doing it so far. It's handling everything perfectly. We're not having to overcorrect it, oversteer anything. The car is going exactly where we want it. It's sliding. It's not oversteering. It's not understeering. It's honestly perfect right now. The only thing is we need to dial in the transmission. But yep, we're sending this car right now as much as we can. Super low horsepower. Look, I just sent this car completely. So again, the technique is hold your e-brake and your clutch and get back on your gas. Sometimes you can hit some curbs. This car does take curbs. Look, if I hop on the curb here and I'm on the gas, it'll take it. It's just a matter of knowing where your car is going to be, where you want it to be, and trying to control it. I think we do need to fix the transmission a little bit. So my first gear, I'm going to shorten it a little bit. My second gear, I'm going to make it about the same distance on those bars. The third gear, I'm probably going to put it in between the bars. My fourth gear, I'm going to make it a little bit shorter. Fifth and sixth, I'm going to leave it about right there. Our top speed is pretty low, but also our horsepower is pretty low. So we're just trying to make sure it can handle those long transitions and short transitions. We already know it's going to handle no problem. So we'll send one more big long transition down here just to show you the potential of this baby. So we'll go second, we'll go to third, we'll go to fourth, and we'll go to fifth. And send it, and right now. Ooh, a little reverse entry. And third gear is a little bit better already. And fourth gear. We're sending it and sliding in. Fourth, and we're left foot braking while our gas is fully pressed in. Clutch kicking and holding e-brake a little bit, and we're getting back on that gas. We got somebody trying to drift with us to see if we can keep up. I don't know if he can get that angle that we got. He's trying. There's no telling how much power he's got in that Ford Lightning. He's doing his best. And there he goes. He's an all-wheel drive, I think. This car is feeling very good so far. I don't think there's anything we really need to change. Anything else other than just making your nice paint job and making your nice livery for. If you're feeling like your transmission's a little bit boggy, you can always move it around a little bit. If you need a little bit more power, you can maybe put a little bit more power in there. But so far, we'll see what kind of score work we can get right now. Trying our best to send it. Ooh. Almost 370. I got one more little spot we can see. And then y'all let me know in the comments how y'all are liking the build, what else we can do to it, what else you would change, and yeah, any feedback is awesome. So this is a little spot. For some very cool tandems you can hit with some buddies. Third gear the whole time. We're gonna clutch kick. And it just swings around, no problem. Just swings around. We're tapping that stick to control our counter steer. We're not holding unless you're seeing your back end kick out, then hey, you hold it for a little bit and then just get back to tapping it. Clutch kicks like we would if we were drifting in the real world. Don't really need to use e-brakes. Left foot brake if you're next to somebody, only while you're on the gas. But other than that, I think that's probably where we'll end this one. And you guys let me know how you like it, and we'll see you on the next one.